That's what we want to talk to you about is conspiracy. He's a debunker.
Conspiracy theories are astrology for men.
Moon landing was fake.
Horse. He said one small step for a man, but you didn't hear it because there was interference. So you actually brought up an example proving that it was wrong. Why do you need this to be right? You take yelling at each other away from them. What the they have. And it's also comforting to think that there's somebody out there tending the light at the end of the tunnel, even if they're evil.
Right.
The truth is, it's all chaos.
Let's talk about flat Earth.
The Greeks, before they could see beyond the horizon, knew that the Earth was round. Srbulj, like verbal. I got a coffee. Srbulj.
Srbulj.
Like verbal.
gerbil.
Like gerbil, yeah.
Okay, I'll remember that.
Are you a proctologist?
I've actually never met him in person.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen you, but...
Did you guys do a show together or anything?
No, Luby put us together, right?
Yeah.
Is that how... Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you ever do
Luby.
Compound?
What's Compound?
You didn't do Compound Media?
Luby was
worked-
talking about it last week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so...
I smoke a lot of weed. I don't have a great
That's like a show, right?
It's like a media company. I mean, it's what's his name? Anthony Cumia.
Right.
His whole like thing.
Opie and Anthony.
Luby worked there. I didn't know if I maybe met you.
Yeah,
later,
I knew you through Luby because
Yeah,
Luby was like, "Oh, you got to have this guy on the podcast."
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I love Luby. So.
Did you used to live in Miami as well?
No, I just came from Miami. I was down there for
What were you
like
doing
3
there?
days. Art Basel and.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
cool,
yeah.
nice. Yeah.
I mean, I just went there. Actually, my girlfriend, my partner, she's down there. She was down there working on her. She works. She does retail space design. So they had a project, and she said, "Why don't you come down? We'll stay another day."
Cool.
And we stayed another day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you have a good time?
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, do you miss Miami?
No.
Okay.
I don't. I was there. Like I've exhausted every
Miami,
last corner
I could
of
see
Miami.
it getting.
Yeah.
You know.
It's the first 2 years. It's the coolest. You're like,
yeah.
I'm so cool. Everybody else is such a sucker. And then what happens is every 2 to 5 years, all of the people in Miami completely leave.
Yeah.
And it completely changes. So you invest all of this time and energy making these relationships, and then these fucking people disappear.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's just kind of like it's a magnet of, first of all, mental illness. People are just like, you know.
Are you describing stand-up comedy?
Yeah.
And then it's like, you know, people, a lot of them just don't really vibe with the culture. Like it's a very Latin culture. If you're not, si tú no hablas español, es muy difícil para
everybody speaks
vivir.
Spanish.
Yeah, it's like at first it's like if you don't speak Spanish, it's like, oh, this is so cool. But after a couple of years and you're like trying to do business, and if you're not like in or you're not speaking Spanish, like you're kind of not.
Yeah, Miami's got this. Miami's like the capital of that whole everything from Caracas
100%.
to like that whole Maghreb of like the Caribbean and
It's the capital of South America.
Yeah, it's the capital of that area, and if you don't if you're not jiving with that culture, it's gonna. And also, but the weird thing is it's located in Florida, which is the most sort of. It's become more kind of red and nativist or whatever, and then all of a sudden you have this pocket of just like an international city that's got that's
but most of them are red. The Cubans,
the Cubans, but the Cubans are red in a way like I'm an anti-communist, they're not red in like don't speak Spanish. This is America. They're not that kind of red. It's a different kind of red.
It is a different kind of red.
So and then you have like you hear Russian a lot.
Yep.
There's a lot of
enclave of Russians.
There's a lot
in
of
North Miami.
Yeah. And then British. It's weird. It's like a great mix, but you don't know if it's gelled yet or if it works. The only thing that really works is the Latin. That makes sense. Everything else, it seems like they've come in to like I don't know. It seems like a lot of people who came in to kind of make a quick buck. In a weird way. I don't know if that.
No,
if
100%
I'm
correct.
perceiving that.
Well, not only that, what happens a lot of time, like what I alluded to the mental illness. So what I really meant by that is like if you're a horrible person from like whatever state, Minnesota, Michigan, and you've like robbed the town because you did like some kind of real estate scheme or whatever, and you made like let's say a couple $1 million, where do you go? You can't stay there. If you live east of the Mississippi, you go to Miami. If you go west of the Mississippi, you go to Newport Beach, California.
It does have an Florida in general has this vibe of. I had this joke like. Florida, when I was a kid, Florida used to be a place where people go to retire.
Yeah.
It still is. It's just that you have to remember, whatever age you move to Florida, you're retired.
Right.
Like it doesn't.
Right.
If you move to Florida 25,
Correct.
it's over.
100%.
Nobody fucking moves to Florida to grind.
Right.
Nobody's there to like, I'm going to work hard. I want to be
100%.
surrounded by the most competitive people in my field. That is not Florida, right?
Dude, you're on the money.
People move to Florida to wear flip-flops for the rest of their life.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's an easy, somewhat easy life. You assume it's much more. You don't have to shovel snow, at least.
Yep.
It's an easier life.
It's
right?
cheaper.
It's cheaper. You kind of there's not that
There's
much.
no state income tax.
Yeah, regulate. There's all of that, and plus the weather's nice. So people, you're attracting people who just want to sign off.
Right.
So it doesn't really generate a good pool of like a good gene pool,
No.
a good nothing. So you're
No.
attracting a lot
labor, not a good labor.
not a
force.
good labor force. That's another. I noticed like there, people working in Florida who try to build businesses is like not.
Forget about it.
Yeah. Now again, I don't want to generalize. It's a state
Oh,
of
of
20
course not. Why would
million
we
people,
generalize?
but like let's try to.
Well, that's why the waiters, they have like the tip baked in, and then they try to trick you to tip on top of
I
that.
didn't even.
Yeah, is that the
I
best
was-
trick?
I was
Yeah,
there
you
for
caught
a
up on that?
couple of
Yeah,
days.
it's
Yeah.
fucked up
Says-
because
yeah.
they don't let you know that it's like included.
I mean, I've been to like what's the name of that like the graffiti area? Wineland, Wynwood.
Wynwood
So I was
Ball.
in there. Yeah, there's a couple good. I mean, there's good restaurants. It's fun. I could see it being very fun. Miami, especially. But yeah, I mean, Florida does attract that kind of, Margaritaville kind of like that's
So
it. We're done with
I
working.
moved into like this building when I first moved there, and it was a brand new building. It was called the Murano Grande. It was in South Beach, and I was an emergency physician. I was working at Memorial Hospital West, and I would get up in the morning, and when I would have shift at like 7 in the morning, so I'd have to get up at like 6. I would jump in my car at like 6:30, and I would drive through 3 levels of this garage filled with cars. And my car was the only car that was moving on a Monday morning.
Oh,
the
yeah,
only
yeah,
one.
yeah. There's not that much.
Nobody's going to work.
Yeah. There's also I remember like it's interesting how early was that? I mean, if it's an emergency.
2004.
No, but how early in the
How
morning?
early in the morning?
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking, I forget whether my shift started at 8 or at 7, but it wasn't super early. It was early enough that, it was late enough that you should have seen people going about their day.
Yeah, basically, one of the things like when you start waking up early in the morning for work, like and you drive to work, like 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m. Not a lot of Maybachs on the road.
No.
Not a lot of nice cars.
Right,
It's a lot of white vans. Like nobody who that whole you start questioning the meritocracy. You
Right.
start waking up at 6:30 a.m. Like
Right.
these people aren't getting to work as early as me. They're making a lot more. I don't
Right.
think they're staying as
They're waking up at 9.
yeah, you don't see a lot of good-looking people either. I mean,
Yeah.
people don't don't tend to get
At
up
6 in the
yeah,
morning.
at 4 to put on makeup, right, to
Right.
get
Right.
out of the house. But
that's
generally,
valid.
like you kind of good-looking people, Miami, like a Whole Foods at 2 p.m.
Right.
Back when they still used to shop for themselves.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
when you see, Tuesday too. People who don't work, So Miami also makes you question sort of the meritocracy. Like, where do these people get their money? There doesn't seem to be a lot of quality, like,
No, they're all a bunch of trust fundians.
Well, also they figure out automation, right? Like, how do they automate their job? How do they make other people do the job for them?
Is that automation? Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah,
When other
I think
people
so.
do. It's not slavery. That's.
I mean,
indentured
I say
servitude?
automation because
Yeah.
it encompasses other things, right? Like leveraging AI or leveraging like tools to like sort through your stuff, like virtual assistants.
Again, I think we're grasping for a meritocracy that is. Some people obviously. I'm not dismissing. Obviously, there's a lot of people who earned every penny they had, but there is a lot of compound interest growth. There's a lot of luck.
Yeah.
Nobody like questions. You very rarely. I was on a podcast recently. It was one of these podcasts where it was a friend of mine, so he put me on. But his podcast is generally about like how to make it, how to grind. Like one of these grinding podcasts. And there's all these books on the table about how I made it. It's very rare that you read. My uncle.
Yeah.
It's very rare. My brother-in-law got me this.
Right.
I really lucked out. It's always, this is the way I did it, and this is what nobody else saw.
Yeah.
And when you really read through, like,
But half those guys still did have some type of life hack, meaning an uncle or something like that. Even though they read Napoleon Hill and they read all Robert Kiyosaki, like still they had a trust fund.
yeah, it helps to like all these things. It helps to have a leg up. Obviously, it doesn't. But
Well, the way the country's designed is for the easiest path to transfer wealth.
I mean, like I understand every group of people is going to want to perpetuate to make it easier for themselves. So obviously the wealthy will want to, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just I sometimes have a problem with the obviously privileged kind of explain when they tell their stories. It's very rarely, look, I'm 6'4".
Yeah.
I'm good looking. I'm white.
Like Anderson Cooper.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Like Anderson
Cooper. Like, no. We were one of the poor Vanderbilts.
Yeah.
We really didn't have that much money. We were Vanderbilts.
Exactly.
But we had a simple apartment on Park Avenue. Like, it was nothing crazy.
Yeah, like I don't know whether he's like, I doubt it's very difficult for him to be like, playing but like here's an example. Did you guys ever read about like the history of Silicon Valley or like Microsoft? Remember the whole used to be Pirates of Silicon Valley. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft and Apple and how they became empires. And I remember there was this scene where Bill Gates, like the time when he made a lot of his money, right? Mm-hmm. When he made like the big killing, when he sold MS-DOS to IBM, right? And it's this small company in the garage, 2-3 guys, and they had this MS-DOS thing. And his vision was that he told IBM's like, here, you want like $100,000 for it or whatever? And he said, no, give me a cut of every computer you sell with this. And that was really like the way, I'm simplifying it, but that was the way that they kind
understood
of
leverage.
He made Bill. He realized that personal computing is going to take off. That he'd rather be like getting a cut of each computer than getting like just a lump sum.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's how he made his billion. And I was like, wow. So for decades, that's wow. I mean, that's foresight. And he did predict, like Jobs, he did sort of predict like personal computing would be big, all that. And then I realized somebody said, I never even thought, how do you get the meeting?
Right.
How do you get? I mean, you're a garage. How do you sit down with IBM?
Right.
His mom was on the board of IBM.
Oh, really?
So, I mean, I've known Bill Gates since I was because I've known him, quote unquote, and like I know about him since I was a kid.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be like? Don't you
relevant
think?
Material.
Page 1, chapter 1. So my mom worked for IBM.
Yeah.
Yeah,
my mom worked for IBM. I was around computers. She was on the board.
Yeah, why did I not find out about this, until it's very rare that people will start their story by look, It's much better. I'm a genius. Nobody else could do what I do.
Well, all these guys had partners too that were really like the fucking
like Wozniak and Bill
Luck.
and the guy from Steve Jobs.
Yeah, and Steve. By the way, Steve Jobs had a much more, not as wealthy as of a background. But again, there was a lot of things that went his way. I'm not taking anything away from these guys. But if it is nothing to be taken away from you guys, then why don't you mention it? Why is it like buried in the discography? But anyway, so
by the way, let's introduce you.
Oh, sorry.
This is Sasha Srbulj. Welcome to the Closed Door Behind You podcast. As always, I'm Doc Jud. And we have our Lord and Savior, Christos. Welcome.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, no, it was great, man. We didn't we just got right into it after 10 minutes of conversation. So that's how we like it.
Yeah.
Tell us about you. Like, what's I saw that you had some comedy and some other languages that I didn't quite comprehend. What's going?
Do you speak any other languages?
I speak Greek and Albanian and Japanese, but not my Greek. My accent, I keep getting made fun of by Greeks because I sound like a Greek rapper, because I've just been.
He
fucked
dresses
up.
like that.
Wow.
Yeah, and then my Albanian is very limited, and my Japanese is a little better than my Albanian. But
wow, and those are completely 3 different.
Yeah, totally
unrelated.
different.
Nothing. It's not like you speak Spanish, Italian, and French.
Well, it's funny. Like Albanian has a lot of borrowed words from Greek. It's close enough, so that makes it a little easier. And the best part is in all 3 of the languages, you can just put on an accent saying the word in English, and most of the time they know what you're talking about.
You don't get surprises from people when you start speaking Albanian or Greek, right? But when you start speaking Japanese, you're like, whoa,
Actually, I think now, so many people are Japanophiles. It's of course you speak Japanese. But I liked it before it was cool,
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, I used to work for a Japanese company, so I went there,
so it's brutal.
I mean, I don't know the language. I know,
Yeah, but the culture is fucking brutal in a company.
Yeah. Oh, yes. And there's like they have this very welcoming culture. Like it's extremely hospitable, but then there's like, go home. They're not like open. They're hospitable without being completely open. So
right. There's still a space in between you. You'll never.
It's an island culture. You know, but and you speak Spanish.
Sí, claro que sí. Yeah.
Okay. Any other language?
That's it.
You probably speak like 15.
No, I speak English and Serbo-Croatian. The problem is Serbo-Croatian became like 4 different languages because they all separated, and now Croatian is Croatian, Serbian is Serbian, Montenegrin is Montenegrin, Bosnian is Bosnian, but they're all basically the same. I mean, it's like English in Texas versus North Carolina. Versus
so there's no like Yugoslavia language?
No, because Yugoslavia technically, so just brief history, Yugoslavia had Slovenia and Macedonia, which are 2 separate languages.
Okay.
So Macedonian is very close to Bulgarian, and then Slovenian is close to. I mean, they're all close to Serbo-Croatian, but they're distinct languages. But Serbo-Croatian is that big middle part.
Right.
Croatia, Serbia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegro, and Kosovo now. That like a lot of them speak Serbo-Croatian.
Got it.
So yeah.
So when obviously because it's Balkan, they have beef over nothing, but they still beef. Yeah. So like when you're going, do you have to appeal to like different types of Balkans when you go and
No.
speak it?
Well, all right. They have nothing, so they beef over nothing. That's a good definition, actually.
Exactly.
When you have nothing, that's when you beef over nothing.
That's why like your family has a fucking like a rocky plain that is on the side of a mountain, and everyone's fighting over the inheritance.
Yeah, it's weird. When you ever go like anywhere you go around the Mediterranean, like especially towards the coast, like in Montenegro, or Croatia, or Italy, or Greece, I'm in the water. I'm on the beach. I live a charmed life, so I go to the Mediterranean. So I'm like, just floating, and then you look up at the hills, and there are these ancient, like, when they make like borders between the land partitions. Yeah. So they have like these little stone
rock walls
that are this big, and they've been up there for thousands of years. And I'm like going, what? I always wonder, like, what the hell are they partitioning? I mean, it's just nothing. It's rock. It's 4 goats, and they're like, mine,
Sure.
And it's that impulse that's just driven. But I think that, I mean, look, I understand in the past. This is where I'm coming from. Like, I understand that in the past 30 years, the Balkans have been a bit of a. All right, let's say in the last 100 years, the Balkans have been a bit of a tinderbox of this debate. But honestly, within all those peoples, Serbs, Albanians, Croatians, Bosnians, whatever, if you looked at all the wars that they had together, it's really only the last 100 years. Mm-hmm. I mean, compared to the blood that's been spilled between Germany and France and Britain, it's like it's a drop in the ocean.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think a lot of the hype around what their divisions are is just, again, the internet doesn't help. Mm-hmm. If I post something and I make like some sort of comment, you can actually gauge your. A lot of people have done that where they purposely put something inflammatory just so the comments.
Yeah, rage baiting.
I don't do that, but every once in a while a topic will touch on something, and it's just like the idiocy, you know, that you see below of like just people arguing. I mean, most of it is cool, but like every once in a while there's just some people argue over nothing.
Oh yeah, when I post
and
jokes,
they like it. They enjoy arguing over nothing.
Yeah,
the worst you can do sometimes is to try to like calm them. Hey guys, we're all.
They're like, shut up! You don't know the Illyrians.
Imagine the way I sort of try to explain it to myself. Like, why do these guys want to argue?
Yeah.
The way I try to explain it to myself is like, imagine, I don't know, the Mets and Yankees. And it's just you're at a bar and these guys are yelling at each other over the and then you come in, hey man, we're all New Yorkers, we all love baseball.
Yeah, it's like shut the fuck up.
It's completely irrelevant.
Yeah, right.
Our whole point is we want to argue.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know if there's an end to it. I don't know if let's just let them work it out.
It's human nature.
I feel like that's also like how my family from those parts communicate. It's through arguing. Like it's almost like it's not a conversation. Right?
Yeah,
like it can't be a conversation that's just like touching on everything. It's got to be like, here's a microaggression or like a passive aggressive comment to spark debate, and it's like, oh, now we're spending time together.
I will say this. Just let's say that. Let's say if you argue, like, because I know like a comedian like Matteo Lane has this bit about how an Italian, if you've had an Italian mother, if you're like an Italian woman will like scream about everything, whether it's like something fell off the table, or her firstborn is sick, she'll like react in the same. So there's this kind of stereotype that Southern Europeans kind of tend to be more vocal, and then Northern Europeans tend to be a bit colder. Again, it's a stereotype. But there's a sort of element in the U.S., especially in West. There's this like toxic positivity, like everything will be okay, and like,
Toxic
like, no,
positivity.
it's bad. Like
hilarious.
there's this aspect. Like somebody, was talking to. Somebody was mentioning somebody lost their job, and immediately, you'll be okay. Like, let them have a fucking moment.
Yeah.
Let them yell a little. Let
them be upset.
Let them be upset. You can't immediately go to, yeah, I'll be fine. Maybe you won't. How about that?
Right.
Yeah.
So there's I guess a balance is needed.
No, but it's true. When I lost my job, everybody, for the most part, was like, "You'll be fine. Like, you'll find something eventually." It'd be like, "I have a child and a wife. Like, I support them."
Yeah.
Like, this is actually like a bigger deal than it would be if it was
you gotta
alone.
let people vent a little.
Yeah.
Or let people feel it. Not every negative feeling, obviously you can't let it go too far, but not every negative feeling needs to be quashed immediately.
Right.
With smiles and sunshine and rainbows.
Right.
I mean, you're a doctor. You understand that emotions can affect the body, right?
Sure. The mind and body, they're connected.
Brain, gut.
I have to like tell people that I have to like talk to them. They're like, why? When is my? So I do pain management now, and people will say like, so you just injected me. Like, how long am I gonna have this pain? And I'm like, well, pain's multifactorial. There's anatomical issues, there's behavioral things, and then there's something that we always overlook, which is like, what's going on in your life? Are you under stress? Is your job stressful? Are you fighting with your significant other? Like, what's happening? All this stuff plays into this. They're like, okay, so basically I defer the answer.
Yeah, here's the thing. I mean, I get that, and is it just me, or is like everything? I don't know if it's just stand up or just comedy, because comedy tends to be negative.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You're kind of like
venting about shit that bothers you.
Yeah, but the entire internet or social media seems to be. The algorithm seems to be, tracked based on negativity. Negative comments get more likes, everything. So if we're just flooded with all this, I mean, it's got to be, things are not really as bad as,
Right.
Well, it's a psyop, right?
So you're saying that it's bad for our health.
No, I don't think it's a psyop. I just think that's the way things work. It meaning like you're more likely to, hey, did you hear about that? You're more likely to get attention if you there's notorious secretive, you're more likely to get attention if something's about to be bad than to be like, hey, everything's going to be great.
Well, it divides the country apart too, when you keep like propagating these negative stories and, dividing people together, and then people are more attached to this.
It's fun. Like we said, the Mets and Yankees fans. Why don't they shut up? Why don't they get along? Because it's more fun to not get along. You take that away from them. You take yelling at each other away from them. What the fuck do they have?
Right.
What do they got? They're just two dudes at a bar surrounded by. But hey, you put in there some conspiracy theories. You put in there some international cabals trying to get. Oh, now all of a sudden they're heroes in their own story. Now they know. Hey, I know something.
Well, that's what we want to talk to you about is conspiracy theories.
Yeah,
so he's like an expert on conspiracy theories.
I'm not really an expert.
Yeah.
Well, you're an enthusiast.
No, he's
a debunker.
I'm not even a debunker.
Oh.
I don't think so. I was just trying. We were talking about this, and I said I'm not really an expert on it. But in the past, I had a joke about it, and then I got basically my joke was the premise was conspiracy theories are basically astrology for men. It's just, it's shit we get into because, the explanation is, or the reasoning, we've talked to psychologists, is because, the world is complex, and then you find a narrative. Our brains are made to find patterns in narratives, and you find a narrative that is, digestible for you, that you find acceptable, and then you run with it, and you find patterns that align with it, whether it's real or not. It's just more comfortable to believe it.
To believe that there's a pattern.
Yeah, to believe that. Yeah, any conspiracy theory you take. I mean, the problem is we're kind of because of social media and internet and all that. We're raising a generation that seems to be just going with whatever conspiracy theory falls in them, and I think that it's ridiculous. Most of them are just ridiculous. I mean, even the big ones. I mean, the bigger the ones.
Like, for example.
moon landing was fake.
Moon landing was fake.
Horseshit.
Yes. Okay. All right. All right. Wait. Moon landing. Moon landing was fake because of this. All right. Number one, pretty fucking convenient timing, huh?
What?
Number two, the flag. Why is it waving in a zero atmosphere environment?
Look,
why is the flag waving?
I'm not here to
Stanley Kubrick directed it
in somebody's basement. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not going to debate the once you get into the nitty-gritty of it, like let's say I prove to you why the flag, which it isn't waving, but it's just there is some gravity in the moon, and as you unfurl it, the crinks and bends of it are going to I'm not even going to debate. Let's say I prove to you why. Let's say I showed 17 people right now telling experts. Was that going to convince you?
Yeah.
That would convince you.
I mean, if you had substantial...
there's like 20 videos on the internet right now I could pull up explaining to you why that flag is like... Well.
Bro, I'm so amendable that...
Are you?
Yeah, when I go to restaurants and I'm like, I think I'll have this, and they'll be like, oh, we also have the steak. It's really good. And I'll be like, okay, I'll have the steak.
No, but the restaurant, whether you choose a steak or not, doesn't depend on whether there's a cabal of international lies against...
You know why I have an issue with the moon landing?
Why?
I'll tell you exactly why. So I've got like... AT&T.
Please don't slam the phone on the...
And I've got a really good plan. Like, I got the best one. It's like $200 a month. And when I go over a hill in New Jersey, I lose reception. And so you're going to tell me that in 67?
69.
69, some dude landed on a rock 300,000 miles from here.
Yeah.
And then perfectly spoke into a microphone, which went into Houston, and then went from Houston to everybody's black and white TVs, and he perfectly said, one small step for man, one leap for mankind.
Well, he had a lot of time to think about that, though.
Like, the likelihood of that
it was...
is so unlikely.
What? You guys don't think it's more likely that they did land on the moon and that the media was reconstructed? Like... They landed and maybe their shit got burned up in the atmosphere and they recreated it when they got here. I don't think they didn't go to the moon.
You think they recreated it because they couldn't tape it there?
I don't even think that. I think that they really did land. I believe in the moon landing. But if talking about like the audio transferring to people's TVs, I think it's way more likely that was fake than that the whole thing was fake.
So all right, look, again,
that's a fair take.
For one thing, maybe, but not even maybe, because the actual example you brought up does include an audio breakup.
Right.
That's one small step for man. He said one small step for a man, but you didn't hear it because there was interference. So you actually brought up an example proving that it was wrong, that it was a wrong, like...
So you don't think he meant to say for man, meaning mankind?
He said for a man. That's one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind. You didn't hear the So,
Well, you're making the assumption.
No, I'm not making the assumption.
It's actually from the transcript, right?
Also, you're making the assumption that what you have in your pocket is the exact same that the U.S. military and government have right now.
No,
back then,
this was designed 70 years ago.
This has more computing program.
Adolf Hitler had an iPhone.
That exists.
Adolf Hitler had an iPhone. This is old news.
Here's the question. Why do you... This is beyond the little...
Because we like to argue.
No, but why do you need this to be right? Why do you need to have been... My point with a lot of thing with conspiracy theories is that there's this element of it where, if you talk to psychologists, let's say
it's
fun. Reason it's comforting.
It's fun.
It's comforting. It's comforting to think...
win.
Well, that, and it's also comforting to think that there's somebody out there tending the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
right, yeah,
that there's a force, even if they're malign...
I caught him!
Even if they're malign forces who are against me, it's good to know that it's not all chaos.
Right.
That somebody out there's controlling things, even if they're evil.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The truth is, it's all fucking chaos. The truth is, nobody's controlling anything.
Did you used to teach?
No. But the truth is, maybe I did, and it's
got
all
like
conspiracy.
high school history teacher vibes.
I don't feel that at all.
But
I feel like he's got like the coolest guy to run into at the bar vibes.
You know what's another thing about conspiracy? I ran into somebody at the bar. Maybe I ran into somebody at the bar a couple of months ago. Cool guy, we're talking from LA, and we're watching something. There was like an old channel. There's a channel on TV that plays old sport. I don't know, ESPN, whatever. And my buddy goes, that's the game that got interrupted for OJ. You know when the OJ chase was?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was a basketball game. And we started talking to this guy. He's cool. His wife's there, and we're like, and he started talking about, how OJ was framed. And you're like, and you have this moment, and a lot of conspiracy theories have this handicap, meaning they get a leg up, because most people, like, I'm not gonna argue with him at a bar whether OJ was fucking murdered, was a murderer, or whether he was framed. Also, another reason why you treat conspiracy theorists with kid gloves. You don't really hit them hard with because
they're like on the
because really it's belief, it's not facts. You need to believe this for some reason, and on some level, and I'm sorry, on some level, people who don't believe it feel sorry for you. And I hate to burst the bubble, but I'm not gonna, like, for some reason he needs to believe that OJ was innocent.
Right, that doesn't benefit you.
And I can't be like, you sound like an idiot. You know, your wife, I mean, his wife next to him started kind of pulling back, like, oh, here he go. You know, like, this is bad for you.
Right, yeah.
I don't need to, like, I just met you. You seem like a nice guy. I don't want to make this embarrassing for you. So you go, oh, okay, that's interesting, and just change the subject.
Right, yeah.
But now he thinks he won. He didn't. He's just too pathetic to beat. So a lot of his conspiracy theories are like that. There's a lot of, like,
let's talk about flat Earth.
What do you want me to talk about?
I don't know. I want to hear your experience with flat earthers.
I've never had an experience with flat earthers. Okay. That is so stupid that I almost think
concur. That is so
they
insane.
must think. I mean, you could show somebody. You could just show somebody.
You could just take off on a plane and do the circle.
The other thing is with conspiracy. Now they got the attention of the room. Now you're saying something controversial, and everybody's.
Well, there are parts of Antarctica that we've never traversed.
Okay.
So maybe that's the edge of the map.
No.
Where you fall over and then you go into China.
I mean, I'm not even. No. There's no. And everybody who's like that. Here.
They fly planes over it.
Is it a flat Earth? This is an iPhone.
They certainly fly planes over the North Pole.
Is this a flat Earth? Is there a flat Earth?
Yeah.
All right. Here's an iPhone 17. Make me a 19 based on the fact that there's a fucking flat Earth. Do you know what I mean?
I don't get that.
You don't get it?
No.
You cannot be smart enough to make whatever. You can't even be smart. I don't even think there's anything in this room you could be smart enough to make while thinking there's a flat Earth. Every mathematical formula in this room could prove to you that the Earth is round. I mean, the Greeks, before they could see beyond the horizon, knew that the Earth was round.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you don't get it, if somebody's out there who cannot, after all these explanations, I mean, literally, there are cameras now. If you stand on the edge of a fucking beach, there are cameras now with a long enough lens that you could actually see a ship dip below the horizon, where the mast is still sticking out. But
sure.
I don't know what I mean, and that's
they're taking on water, and that's an emergency. So it's good that you found it.
Here's the question: with you got to ask. I mean, I'm assuming most of your audience members of podcasts are young men.
No, actually, these are all lesbian women in their 50s.
See, that's me being
male to female trans.
Yeah. I'm sorry. That's me being
main demographic.
Yeah. Hey, Glenda, thanks for the $50 donation. By the way,
that's me.
Speaking of which, our sponsored Izakaya Jiraku. Do you want a beer?
No, I do like
non-alcoholic.
Yeah.
Well, do you like Japanese food?
I don't know. I mean, if the Earth is fucking flat, how did we make it to Japan?
Well, let me tell you, the owner of this place is definitely a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, why?
So he's just a funny guy. But you don't want any of them?
No, I'm good though.
Oh, okay.
Thank you though. I'd like to. I think I need to keep sharp to dispel.
Izakaya Jiraku. Do you live in Manhattan?
I live in Brooklyn.
Okay, so there's a place called Izakaya Jiraku. They're our sponsor. So if you guys are ever in Manhattan, you want to get some Japanese food, you know what an izakaya is? It's it's a small bar, like a chill, like informal bar. So these guys make awesome food. So if you're ever in Manhattan, come by and have some wasabi fries and a couple beers and some sake at Izakaya Jiraku.
Yeah, and Kyo's gay. He's the owner.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's very, he's like one of those gays where it's
one of those gays.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Like I like all of them, so it doesn't matter.
No, he's one of those
where wears a bulletproof vest.
Yeah,
he wears a bulletproof vest. Why?
Yeah.
Does he have threats?
Because he takes so many money
shots.
Scared
of Serbians.
Money shots.
Yeah, you should.
I like Asahi.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Are you
in the fridge?
Yeah, it was in the fridge.
Okay.
Okay, so here are the conspiracy theories that I think have legs, legitimately.
Okay.
JFK assassination.
No, bullshit.
Okay. Charlie Kirk assassination.
I don't know anything about it. Really.
Princess Diana.
I don't think think so.
COVID-19 being something released by the Chinese on purpose.
No.
What else? What else?
Why? Here's the thing about all of these conspiracies.
Yeah.
Whatever they are. Like, why would you know about it? You or I or us?
I think there's plenty of stuff we don't know.
No, but like, why? If they're all like this malign group, like, why would your buddy Vic fucking figure it out? Like, here's the other thing about conspiracy theory. I don't believe that the people talking about them are smart enough to figure anything out.
Well, I do think that, like,
and also, if we all know about them, what was the fucking point of having them?
Well, I think that the media in general, like the media in the 60s and 70s, they only had like one particular outlet to like tell the masses what's going on, like almost like a propaganda machine, and there was no way to like source other information. Whereas in this time, there's a lot more information. So I'm not saying that the moon land. I mean, I did say it was fake, but I'm just saying hypothetically, like. There's a lot of aberrations based on different information, which make people go, "Wait, that doesn't make sense."
Okay, Area 51.
What? Okay, so this is the thing. You guys have to. I mean, we have to separate what conspiracies are, versus lies and secrets. There are secrets. There are lies. Conspiracies are like that's a bit more. Dude, two people can't cheat on somebody without it being found out. Right. You think like government? Come on. First of all, the other thing about them is. All of the conspiracy theories have this preset of, you don't know what's going on, and I know what's going on.
Right.
And it's way more fucked up than you think. Mm-hmm. Really? When actually reality is way darker than any conspiracy theories are. And the reality is they don't fucking need to lie to you. What do you think? They need like all this, charade? Like they need to like...
Well, aliens, they probably have to do that because we wouldn't even be able to process it.
You're not important. I'm not important. What we think isn't important for this... the world is just as fucked up as it is with all of us trying our best, man. There's no malign forces trying to fuck it up.
Yeah, but that feels like an easy way out kind of answer.
No, an easy way out is to believe that the whole world's against me and that everything that's wrong that's happened to me is
So you don't think aliens exist?
Do I think that aliens exist out there in the universe?
Yes.
Or do I think
that they've come here
and
they've been
visiting?
here?
I think it's in the realm of possibility. Yeah. Do I think that our government is in some sort of cahoots with them? No.
Well, let me use the example of COVID-19.
Okay.
There are tons of conspiracies that came from that, right? For one, when they were like, oh, the 6 feet apart, like, transfer of disease is not as easy because of that. That was immediately debunked after, like, tons of people were saying, oh, that doesn't even make sense scientifically.
Well, look, I don't know if it doesn't make sense scientific. There are things that the ongoing thing with COVID, first of all, was a new disease, right? Mm-hmm. So they were going by, okay, it's an airborne disease. This is generally how airborne diseases transfer. It's probably better to be 6 feet apart than it is to be sitting. I mean, dude, if you're breathing right into somebody's face, probably they'll get something from you if you have something.
Right.
6 feet apart seem like... There's a lot of things that you say to people, that's your best guess. Now, sometimes it changes, sometimes it does. I don't think there was a maligned effort. First of all, China is one of the countries that suffered the most from COVID.
Yeah. So and do you know what that was about?
What was it about?
So I was living in Japan, right? At the time, at the tail end of 2019. Like I was there like the fall into the winter. 2019, I was getting, all the Japanese publications and all that kind of stuff. And I was seeing like these articles about them finding the disease. This new thing is like coming up. There's a doctor that's saying like it's worse than you think. They put him in jail.
In China.
Yeah. In China. They put him in jail. I was reading all about this guy, and it was in actual, like, legitimate...
I remember that guy. Yeah. So, he died later from COVID.
Yeah. Allegedly. Fine. Yeah. But, the CCP is all about suppressing stuff, all about, like, doing whatever.
They're not, again, all of this... How did we know about all this?
Well, I think China understood, like, okay, the lab being in Wuhan, right? Like, literally studying these things. It's like some of these pieces where people were like being like persecuted online for like making these claims, me included, right? And even though I had the context of legitimate news sources back there, but they just didn't have them in the US.
Here's the thing. Again, COVID was most likely, well, first of all, it was a disease We agree that it was a disease, that it existed.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
All right. Now, whether it was accelerated in a lab or whether it was zoonotic and just showed up.
It was being studied in a lab and was got out as a result of that.
So all right. So the theory, what you're saying, so just, my impression of it is that it it probably occurred zoonotically, meaning like it naturally occurred. All right. Now, I don't know whether it spread naturally or whether one of the nodes of spreading was this lab that was working on it. It could have just been the lab they were working on it. They all got sick. They spread it to their families. Just like the wet market could have been a node. But the idea that there was a malicious intent to do this.
Yes, there was. Here's what was malicious, and you can make the argument on all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Here's what was legitimately malicious.
I like how we're talking. There's a guy in a white coat here.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
the only guy with an education.
He has to be careful of what he says legally, so he's like choosing what he's gonna say. But I don't give a fuck. So what I'm going to say is that in China, when they discovered it, they got all these whistleblowers saying, like, this is a bigger deal than you think. China was like, oh, it's no big deal. We're not going to close down the country. Like, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. Yeah. I think the Chinese Communist Party colluded together at a certain point and said, this disease is doing some serious damage to us. It's very real. Now, we can contain it in the country as best as we can and suffer a legitimate economic collapse after we're running for the first place slot against America and against all the other world powers. We can stifle our growth as a country by closing it off, or we can make everyone else on the same playing field as us. So let's keep the borders open longer than we should to go and release it out to other people.
Considering that they were one of the first of all, again, you're really assuming that there's some sort of body in China that's going to discuss this
100%
without knowing what the disease is like.
They were already seeing it. It took months for them to make a declaration.
It would change so quickly. You know how fast it mutated. One strain after another was different. Come on. I mean, the idea that they would do.
You don't think China would choose their own economy and their growth over?
I don't think they could have contained it if they wanted to.
They could have put better measures.
They certainly tried.
What I'm saying is,
I
don't think they could have contained it leaving the country. It was already gone. By the time they figured out this is a new disease, there were already people in Milan getting sick. It was over. They didn't have the option of.
It was sooner than that. It was way sooner. They did not
have the option. All right.
October, I was reading about this. It was in October where they knew how fast it was spreading, all this kind of stuff. These doctors all were like looking into it. He said they all said it was really bad. The Chinese government was like, it's fine. It's just like a fucking regular sort of flu. Like, it's no big deal. So people start dying over there.
Again, that's your perspective on how it got out. But then why is it that the same people that this is the other thing, bless you. The other thing that we're all getting COVID now. The other thing that a lot of conspiracy theories tend to have is, let's say you agree with that. Mm-hmm. But did you agree with all the measures?
The measures that they took
to prevent COVID. You were 5 minutes ago. You were talking about you shouldn't say 6 feet apart. That's bullshit. Now you're saying it's the deadliest disease ever, and the Chinese could have stopped it. So which one is it? Is it that this is a deadly disease that we need to say 6 feet apart, and then all the measures set in place were at least helpful to some extent, which the Chinese could have implemented if they wanted to stop it, or is this some biological weapon that was let go that couldn't be stopped?
I think
because it's kind of like a lot of times conspiracy theories tend to be on both sides of the argument, whatever wins. And it's like you can't believe one or the other.
Well, I don't think you have to believe that the precautions that we took were excessive or anything like that to believe that it was in the best interest of that country to release it to the rest of the world to avoid inhibiting their economic growth. It's like when you have chicken pox and you give it to the rest of the kids in the class, right? It's
everybody suffers.
Everybody suffers, and it's not just you.
I have a feeling that a lot of what conspiracy theories do is they impart the ability into other. Nobody's that smart. That's the other tragedy of this.
Chinese are very smart. Look at the kids in Harvard. Most of them are Chinese.
Nobody's gonna think about this. Nobody knew how this would react. Nobody that far in advance. I'm saying by the time they figured out what was going on to even make that kind of conclusion. It was already gone. It was already. You don't know who the fuck got on a plane.
But you could have taken stronger actions. I'm telling you, I'm reading
they
stuff
were the
from
first
October.
Ones that closed down.
Of course, it's where it started.
So,
it's a natural progression of where it is. But the time that it took them to put in the measures, it was months before they actually did something about it because they were getting all this pressure to do so.
So for one thing, just to like chip away at your theory, it's very difficult in countries, especially countries with totalitarian regimes, for information to go from bottom to up, from something that's happening in a small provincial town to get it all the way up to because nothing's happened. The first thing you do in totalitarian regimes is you pretend nothing's going on, just to protect your own ass. Because the guy above you is going to be, what the hell did you do?
Right.
What the hell happened? Then your ass is on the line. You get shot. So you just keep it quiet. It's the same thing that happened in Chernobyl. Remember Chernobyl? Everything's fine. Everything's good. There's no radiation. Don't worry about it. It took them like days, weeks to figure out how bad it was.
Yeah.
Now you're saying the Chinese in that totalitarian system somehow knew immediately, damn, we better let this thing spread or else it's very unlikely
they didn't
that
know.
that would happen.
I'm not saying that they knew immediately. And perhaps it was accelerated because of that totalitarian system of being like, hey, I don't want to tell them the bad news or whatever. I'm sure. But if we're reading about it in October, in September, October,
you read about
when it's
diseases,
happening,
you read about bird flu. Nobody really knows how bad
people
it's
were
gonna...
dying.
Well, yeah, people die from bird flu. People
they were
die
dying
from...
in October.
No, I know people die from.
But they didn't close things off till January.
So okay, I can't prove it either way.
Yeah.
I just think it's extremely unlikely. It's just very, very unlikely that they would have the power or the knowledge or the intelligence and wherewithal to do that. It's just going backwards and saying, it doesn't make, especially for a country that seemed to be like in some ways not dumbest in handling it, but like in some ways they were like more on the extreme in handling. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
again,
that's what I think. It didn't make sense.
I think hindsight is 20/20, right?
Yeah,
it's to me it seems pretty obvious what happened, but at the time I agree with you. It's like they didn't really know it's just they didn't really know. But hindsight being that, okay, there is a Wuhan Institute of Virology. At the Wuhan Institute of Virology, they are doing gain of function research. Yes, there happens to be a pangolin market there. I mean, are we going to blame it on the Virology Institute, or is it more likely the pangolins? Long story short of it,
I get it, but the point, what I'm trying to make is beyond all these, why is it the same people who are saying this are also the same people who say it's nothing, it's fine, I don't need to wear a mask, I don't need to get a vaccine? It's always the same group. It's both the deadliest thing fucking ever, and it's also nothing. It's both a conspiracy and it really doesn't exist. It's actually a terrible biological weapon, and it's all a hoax. It's all the same people. You got to pick a lane.
Well, I think there are plenty of people who don't believe both. I think there are a lot of people in my camp who are like, yes, it was a big thing. Yes, it was, we had to take measures against it. All this stuff makes sense. But it stems from this.
Here's one of the I understand that some of the measures may look like they were wrong, and some maybe they should open the schools. Again, these are all things for debate. The question is, let's say they put your ass in charge or my ass in charge. And if I make this call, maybe thousands of people will die. I mean, you tend to go on the side of being more careful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you also inherently human nature. You want to you almost you kind of get attracted to that power. It's just human nature where all of a sudden they start putting you in touch with things, and you're able to make these There definitely were people in power that definitely got a little too happy with the powers bestowed upon them and went a little far.
I just wonder, if you ran it backwards, and you are, again, let's try to be sympathetic with anybody making a decision. If you ran it backwards, I mean, what do you do? I mean, I understand, but you kind of have to be, especially in the beginning when nobody knew what was going on, and you kind of have to be careful. And
Sure, but you can't completely destroy an economy. Like, it's one thing, like all of the like immunocompromised and the elderly, yeah, like have them like suppressed, like but to close all the businesses and have like people, especially small businesses where people still had to pay their leases, still had like, I mean, it's just insane. They literally like bankrupted like the heart of the United States economy. And then what they did was,
I think that was right, though.
They didn't even allow, though, the economy to legitimately tank. They then just stepped in and went, you know what? The market's crashing, which it was supposed to be. We're just going to pump the market. We're going to print a ton of money, and we're not going to allow this happen. And now our dollar is worth half of what it was in 2020.
First of all, inflation happened everywhere. This is going to, look, again, I understand. There were, like, hindsight's 2020. You could run it back. I just don't know if you were again in the situation, you know, I can't be that critical of what was done.
Well, that's why I only use that.
That's our job.
Please stop slamming the phone. I use that example of COVID in connection to the fact that I do believe the government suppresses information from us. I do believe
What information do you think the government suppressed?
I think aliens. That they had to. So, right? Like, there's certain things that they suppress
everybody
to
believes
protect
there's aliens. What are they suppressing?
That they've made contact with them.
And then what? Why would they suppress it?
Well,
I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying let's look at it from, let's say they're suppressing it. Why?
I think because the introduction of, like, if they went out and said, like, aliens exist, we've been talking to them, there's nothing to be scared about, blah, blah, blah.
By the way, you're just being grown as food. This is basically just a farm.
Yeah.
And we're all... so if people... I'm just saying, for example, hypothetically speaking, I'm not saying this is the question. I'm just saying, like, if this is a farm and they're just farming us, and when we go to the heaven, like, we literally are showing up on somebody's plate on planet whatever, like, if that, just hypothetically speaking... If that really was the case, you don't think there would be some unrest and people would be burning churches down and synagogues and mosques?
Why would the government be covering for the aliens in that case?
Well, I think
they want to restore order.
I think the
government.
They're
also going to end up on a plane. So why would they hide for them?
This is what I mean. Here's one of the things about conspiracy theories that the impression is that the best. I mean, every conspiracy theory out there, whether it's JFK, whether it's they all share COVID. The aliens, freaking, moonland, whatever. It's all the government. They're trying to control the people. Because, you remember how out of control we were before COVID? Remember how crazily hard to control us we were as we were neatly standing in line for the next iPhone? Do you really think you need to be controlled? You right now have a credit rating. You know how many metrics around you they already know, they've assigned to you?
Yeah.
You're not doing shit. I'm not doing shit. You're not doing shit. We're all paying taxes. We're all obedient, pliant. We're fine. They don't need to hide shit from us.
I think they have to hide.
No,
they have to hide an alien contact. They have to hide it. Okay, ready? You remember 2020 when people were fucking going crazy, rioting in the streets and breaking shit?
So, and at the same time they were saying they're doing COVID to control us.
Okay, but let me ask you this: if people were doing that, right, and they lost it, right? How much would people lose it if my entire religion has been a lie or has been fabricated?
Most people don't believe anything. Most people
I don't think so.
Most people, come on. You really if most people believe, you know who believes shit? This is terrible to say. I mean, most people are kind of 50-50. Do you really think everybody's walking around buying, $500 sneakers and, $1,000 whatever coats and driving around in BMW? You think they're all Christians who believe that? Come on.
Well, I mean, it's not just Christians
or Muslims or whatever.
You know,
every religion teaches you got to be, modest. You got to give to the poor. You got to love thy neighbor. Do you think people walk around living
but
like
capitalism is it's a different evil that spawns through that and it fights that whole thing. But if you
so, what do they believe more?
Well, I think most people in that situation who do things from the Bible or whatever, yes, they would be fucking in turmoil. But most of the people who don't abide by the Bible, but they're still agnostic or religious in some degree, believing in a higher power, the introduction of aliens existing and having had contact with them disrupts that.
The only way to disprove your theory is that if aliens landed and then all of a sudden, Tuesday is okay, who's playing Thursday night football? If that happened, I'd be see, nobody gives a shit really.
Yeah.
outside of that happening, I can't prove you wrong. Do you know what I mean? So it's a very lofty position you're in right now, because how else am I going to prove you wrong? The idea that aliens would traverse thousands, who knows how many light years with the technology they have, land here, only talk to our president or our government, be like, hey guys, we don't want to shock them all. We just want to talk to you. I mean, it's insane. Why would they do that?
If they're advanced enough to
care for us? Oh, they care for us.
100%.
The aliens care about us.
I'm not saying the aliens are malevolent, because I once they take over,
but why would they give a shit?
To be known. Because
why would they care?
Why would they care? Because they probably visited other planets and they understand
saw what happened
the turmoil that happens.
Why would the aliens have the same hierarchy of
why would every planet react the same way?
What is more valuable to you as an alien species probably trying to gain more control of different ecosystems in the world?
Dude, again, we're talking about a group of a species where a significant amount now doesn't believe the Earth is round, and then another species that went through, I don't know how they figured out how to traverse thousands of light years, and now you
teleportation.
Do you give a shit of what the ants beneath your fucking toes are thinking?
If you want their resources and you want them,
why wouldn't, if they have the power to get here from Alpha Centauri, trust me, they do not give a shit about our feelings, about how we think, they would extract, dude, we're extracting oil from other, continents and countries. We didn't give a shit about them. You think aliens would give a shit about what we think?
Well, George Carlin said they're here for the plastic.
They're here for the plastic, maybe. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Maybe it's true. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, it just makes sense that if it did happen, that the government would suppress it because of the unrest that it would induce by knowing something like that so abruptly. So they have to transition us in with skepticism, and then have the CIA confirmed those UFOs.
Do you know the whole? Do you know the whole? It could be this. So there's two, just logically thinking, right? Maybe there was a UFO crash and the government found something and wanted to hide the technology. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe that happened. I have no idea. The other thing is, there's also this aspect of it.
Okay.
Do you know? You ever watch The Irishman?
Kind of.
So we're going to circle back to another conspiracy. You know The Irishman, where the guy said...
Jimmy Hoffa?
Yeah, where they're explaining, the mob kind of implied that they killed Kennedy. In the story, the mob is they're talking to each other, and they go come on, man, they whacked the president. You think they're going to think twice about you?
Right.
The mob didn't whack the president. All right? And they know they didn't whack the president. But they wouldn't mind you thinking they whacked the president.
Right.
So maybe they don't have alien technology. Maybe they're not talking about, to aliens. But they don't mind you thinking they are, because that increases their power.
That's true.
So maybe that's a conspiracy theory. But again, what I'm saying is both of these, they're talking to aliens, they're hiding it in order to control us. Or they're not talking to aliens, but they're spreading these conspiracies to make you think they're talking to aliens.
No, I like that.
You agree?
That makes sense.
You agree with both of those. But you don't agree with reality.
But tell us
that maybe none of that's true.
So tell us who killed JFK.
Yeah.
Oswald.
Okay. And just Oswald.
Just Oswald.
Okay.
I mean, I know, it's sad. Dude, the fucking guy drove up to his window.
I'm sorry, what?
They drove up.
He shot him from behind, right? He was in the bank. The depository was in the back, right?
What I'm saying is there's no way.
And there's film of his brains going out the back, onto the back, and then Miss Kennedy grabs it.
You could explain all of that.
No, I'm an emergency physician. I've seen bullet trajectory. And so
in slow motion?
When you shoot somebody,
yeah,
okay, the bullet, the entrance room is this big, and the exit wound is huge.
Yeah.
So this was an exit wound.
Well,
it went across the back of the whole truck, or the whole
it kind of went out like this, all right? And you're looking at a grainy footage. Another thing, the guy was in a basically a corset.
Suit?
No, he had Addison's disease, and he had various elements, and his back was fucked up, so he would always walk around, basically in a corset.
So Jimmy?
No, JFK. So when he's there's this element where he's kind of lifting it. He couldn't lean over. So a lot of times when you see his body whip, it's because he's being held. It's not a typical body. You know what I mean? It's not reacting the way a body would. But again, we're getting into the details and the nitty-gritty here. Why do you think, again, it's all to escape the idea that some idiot could do this, that's not connected to the mob, that's not connected to the Cubans, that's not connected to the CIA, that, you know, one of the most powerful people in the world could drive down a street and have his head blown off by a freaking loser. And that's what happened. And that's what happens with most assassinations. But we don't like to believe that. So we believe that there's some secret organization controlling everything. It's more comforting to us to believe that. I hate to be, am I a bummer here? I hate to
No, I like this.
The world is fucking chaos. People, look, there's so many, like, Hinckley. Hinckley, did you see ever that footage?
The one who shot
Reagan. He almost killed Reagan. He just showed up with a gun in his pocket. Randomly. He was in Washington he decided, I guess I could, oh, wow, Reagan's going to be there. I guess I'll go there and try to shoot him. These people are idiots. All right? It happened.
But we're not contesting that.
I know you're not contesting.
But
if he died, you would contest it. Because the difference is this guy got his head blown off and he's dead and history changed. With Reagan, you could contest it. You could say that it was all, like people contest with Trump. They contest, oh, it was set up so that he could get popular and everything. You know, no, it wasn't. It was some idiot. You saw it. It happened. All right?
Somebody else died behind him.
Somebody else died behind him. It was terrible. The idea that he would somehow, I mean, do you have any idea, like, the idea that would be orchestrated? It's just so complicated. So here's the thing. If all these things were orchestrated, you'd see some of them go wrong. Some of it would go off the rails. Have you ever try to get 7 people to go to the same movie, show up on time? You're telling me all these people did all these things at exactly the right moment, no hitch, nothing, and they all kept secret. I mean,
you're talking about the Trump assassination?
Anyone?
Well, special ops people.
Well, there are all these
special
aberrations. That's why there's a conspiracy spirit, because all these aberrations happen, and they cling to these aberrations that happen and go, hey, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense.
No, you're seeing a thing. It's sort of like going backward. That's because it happened, all right? And then you're going, well, see, that's different. But to organize it in advance, to get everything to line up that way, in a situation that has an outcome that you want, you know how hard that is? I mean, think about it.
Well, that's how they carry out special ops
and
missions.
Those go wrong all the time.
Yeah.
You know, fucking, they
this one went wrong because they didn't kill Trump.
Again, it's... So let me get this straight. An organization, let's say it's the Trump, an organization that would carry all that out with all the secret.
No, it's not the Trump organization.
No, whatever organization. I don't know. I think
the group that wanted Trump dead.
The group wanted Trump dead could allow that to happen and not be successful and then just walk away from it. That's what you think is going on.
No, I don't.
So what?
I think literally it was just luck that his head didn't get blown off.
Yeah.
Because the guy who shot him, first of all, the guy who shot him had his whole entire apartment was perfectly, like, professionally scrubbed. He had no utensils. He had nothing. It was insane. The fact that that kid actually, the fact that kid got that close to be able to shoot him on a roof when there's Secret Service there.
Yeah, and the Secret Service person in charge was like, "Oh, you don't have to go check the roof because that person was there."
So let me get this straight. All of this, again, there's conspiracy theories saying that this was all a charade on purpose to increase his
I don't
popularity.
believe in that.
Then there's a conspiracy theory
that gets debunked by the
shadowy organization that people. There's people on the other side who believe the whole fucking
position in the whole entire to be the controller of the whole entire world, the most important country, the most powerful country on the earth. You don't think that people are trying to kill each other to get to that position? That's been happening forever. Kings being princes being
so we're gonna get this guy who has never touched a woman in his life to go up climbing on top of. I mean, it just seems so.
That's
stupid.
Exactly who you get because you actually show them power.
Him.
Yeah, because you're like, my God, you're so important. We're going to train you.
So
and this guy's never gotten any type of attention for anything. So you make him feel important. All of a sudden, he feels powerful. Of course, he's the perfect person to go up on the roof and shoot the president.
At the beginning of this, we talked about how difficult it is to get an employee to work in Florida.
Yeah,
and you're talking about this kid who isn't it just more possible that he was a sick little guy who's needing attention? He was searching for Biden's route as well, just like Lee Harvey Oswald shot a conservative general and missed like 3 months before the Kennedy assassination. All of these guys have a pattern, all right? And it has nothing to do with changing the world. It has something to do with look at me. That's what they all. Whether it's Gavrilo Princip, whether it's Hinckley, whether it's it has nothing to do with. And if, by the way, if some super secretive organization was really trying to kill, a powerful person, there's so many more ways to do it than get a fucking, 19-year-old to climb a roof. It just seems so stupid.
Okay, if you wanted to kill the president,
I don't want to.
How would you do it?
I don't want to, and I wish.
How would they do it back in Serbia or Montenegro?
I'm just kidding. I'm just saying that all these conspiracy theories.
I got you. We spent a good half an hour on it. I liked it. Thank you. We appreciate your
Wait, you can finish your thought of the conclusion.
No, look, kids. No, you're wasting a lot of time with this. Life is beautiful. The world is. I
agree.
The reality is real and measurable.
We should.
I have nothing else going on. I enjoy this.
I understand, but if you're enjoying this, if you're listening to this, and then you go out and you expose yourself to a virus or to, bad company or to, then it's not really worth it. How much is the fun really worth if it's robbing you from seeing the world for what it really is? I'm not saying I know how to see the world for what it really is, but a lot of this is just kind of foolish.
I think some people have for me, it was my grandpa died during COVID through a self-inflicted gunshot because nobody could go and visit him. They were too scared to do whatever. And he was, through that, he was late 90s. He was like, the fuck is the point of all this? And that was during COVID because of all of that. So when I had, in October, I never had a skepticism of the Chinese until I lived in Japan, which I was more exposed to their political
and they hate
things.
The Chinese.
Yeah,
there.
exactly. So a lot of the newspaper publications paint them in a way. So I kind of began my skepticism of China.
So your skepticism is based on your experience in Japan and the fact that you emotionally were hurt for the loss of your grandfather.
The skepticism started from the beginning as it was all occurring because I was reading about it happening and all that kind of stuff.
I'm sorry about your grandfather?
Yeah, no, I just use it as a point.
I know,
yeah.
the point is an emotional point, and it's very difficult to react to that.
Yeah.
Meaning, I don't know, I could bring up people, died too. The universe is indifferent, and our suffering in it is irrelevant.
I think,
and that's the hardest thing to accept.
Well, I think.
Right, doctor?
Well,
pain medication.
I raised that point to explain that for a lot of people to just dismiss them as they're bored or they're interested. For me, what a lot of it came from the COVID thing was
I'm not.
I'm not. I'm actually not a real I'm just trolling.
I know we're talking.
But
we're talking for the. I think it needs to be a conversation. It's good conversation to have because it's not that I'm dismissing them.
Mm-hmm.
I have nothing to. It's reality.
Yeah.
It doesn't give a shit.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't care.
Your reality doesn't care about the context.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
I hear you.
It sucks
Guys,
that
we're almost running out. We're almost done with the whole podcast right now, but we've gotten into none of the other stuff. So
let's just do lightning round.
Let's do just one question lightning round. Your favorite one question. So the lightning round.
Yeah.
On Closed Door Behind You podcast, we have something called the lightning round. So we typically, we will ask a series of questions to our guests, the same questions that we ask all of our guests. For this particular one, because we're kind of running out of time, I'm going to try to think of my favorite one, and I'm going to have maybe Christos start off with one of his favorites.
What's one life hack that that's helped you that you think more people should know about?
I don't know with the doctor here. I think I like to, and this is something to do with me because I kind of tend to run high octane, I also, anxiety.
Don't worry, he does too. He keeps slamming the fucking phone on the desk.
I know, I'm sorry about the issue is, one of the things I figured out in the past year or two is cardio. It sounds stupid. Just running, walking. I hated running. But it kind of how you run a couple of miles, 4 or 5 miles, you start feeling pretty a lot better about a lot of things.
Yeah.
I wish I started earlier. That's my,
That's good stuff. I
like
love it.
bike riding, whatever.
Yeah, it's also a conspiracy theory started by Nike.
Yeah.
But no, I'm saying running or walking or something.
My question is, if you could invite anybody, live or dead, to dinner, who would that special person be?
His grandpa. So
Good answer.
No.
No.
Pick a real answer.
For your
you.
grandpa.
No.
Okay, so his grandpa's not available. He doesn't want to meet.
He was living, but all right, living or dead.
He has other people to have dinner with.
Yeah, he's up in heaven with No, if it was living or if it was dead, it would obviously be somebody I miss. Like my father had passed away, and like I'd rather I'd see him. But if
how about a famous figure?
From the past?
Yeah.
I don't know. Shit. It's like also never meet your heroes. So there's that.
There's some validity.
Validity to that. I don't know if I, I don't know. I was gonna say just my dad and his grandpa, but I don't know. I think it would be fun to meet any of the who do you think would be fun at dinner? That's the question.
You would want someone fun at dinner.
Yeah, so
you'd want to use it as like a dinner
hour.
hour.
A comedian.
Oh, comedian George Carlin.
There you go. Perfect.
George Carlin, for sure.
Okay.
George Carlin.
What will you guys talk about?
I'd let him talk. What the fuck am I going to say?
Just listen?
Yeah. Let him talk and listen, record it.
Yeah.
Obviously, then people,
Yeah, he's definitely incredible. Yeah. All right, I like that one. You have another one?
Yeah. What's a bit of advice besides like telling yourself to run sooner that you would give to someone who's trying to be like you or a younger version of you?
One of the things I figured, don't listen to older people too much. I mean, I was more on the side of listening to people and listening to their advice and following. Again, it boils down to the thing we started at the beginning. People are just going to tell you what they know, even if it's at the best intentions and they really have your best interests at heart. They only know what they know, and they know what's good for them and what was good for them growing up, way to succeed, whatever. Take everything in, but still in the end, you got to make your own decisions or go your own way.
Okay, so my last question is, do you need any medical advice?
Yeah, and I don't know if it's a good idea to talk about that.
If you're uncomfortable, you don't have to.
No, I mean, how much time do we have?
We got enough time for this question.
Yeah.
You're an emergency technician?
Yeah. No, not a technician.
Emergency doctor, sorry?
I'm an emergency physician. I'm board certified emergency physician. Fuck. I currently mostly do pain management now in an outpatient setting, but I did 20 years of emergency medicine.
A question. I mean, I know one of the things about pain management, the problems is there is no objective, somebody hurts 1 to 10, and somebody's subjective. 10 is somebody's 5.
That's correct.
How do you think that we'll ever figure out a way to measure that?
Well, no, because like you said, pain is subjective. There is no objective way to definitively, say that this is a 1 and this is a 10.
But do you know on a scale of like ailments, like how painful an ailment is?
Not necessarily. I mean, so ailments in and of themselves are not necessary. They can cause things that will cause pain. For example, an ailment, like having a neoplastic disease, like a cancer that's growing and impeding on something else, like a nerve, can cause excruciating pain. But there's also different thresholds for pain. And like I was saying, pain is very multifactorial, meaning like there's multiple things that cause pain. It could be there's anatomical things, like for example, there's for example with the spine, there is do you have a disc that's herniated? Do you have a facet that is arthritic? These are objective things, but you could take an MRI of everybody in the studio right now, and half of those people could have a herniated disc, and they're not having any back pain. So that's the objective part. Then there's the other things, like what are you doing behaviorally? Are you doing jujitsu and getting thrown on your neck every day? Are you over the computer all the time? Are you picking up heavy luggage? Did you just have to sit on a plane for 24 hours and coach, and you're a huge guy? Then there is what we call supratentorial factors, meaning like what's going on in your brain. Are you under a lot of stress at work? Are you under a lot of stress at home? Do you have somebody sick? All those things also weigh into it. So it's super subjective. Yeah. And it's interesting too, because like I was just in a deposition this morning. I had to testify in a workers' comp patient, and the attorney kept like pressing me over, whether this guy was really in pain, based on his MRIs, and I just like had to explain to him like what I just told you, that like it's totally irrelevant what the MRI says and what his pain is.
Well, so but then you introduce like other factors that are like well known, right? Like you see a guy with a torn ACL, you know, and you're like, damn, that's gotta hurt. That's gotta be really bad pain. Versus
walk it off.
Yeah, versus seeing a guy with like, I don't know, like a broken finger or whatever. You're like, well, the ACL guy's of course in more pain, you know?
Yeah, and do we value other people's pains differently?
Well,
you know
studies say yes.
Yeah.
And that's also very political as well, because that became a whole thing with pain is just, I mean, I could go on for hours about pain and about the government's approach with pain and the conspiracies with pain.
There's pain conspiracies?
Because well, a very good thing that you just alluded to is pain subjective or is pain objective? And so back in like the early 2000s, the CMS, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, who basically reimbursed the majority of the medical bills in this country, made a determination that that doctors are under-treating pain. Okay, doctors are under. So the doctors are the bad guys. They're under treating pain, and because of that reason, we are going to make pain the fifth vital sign. So vital signs being blood pressure, respiratory rate, pulse rate, and respiratory rate.
Wow.
We're going to make pain. So therefore, on every chart, we're going to have to ask the patient the Wong-Baker scale. So there was like like this is a 1, I'm not in pain, and this is bad. And so you would have to document on the beginning of the chart what the Wong-Baker scale was, and at the end. And if it didn't go down, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid would not reimburse you.
As if you didn't treat it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So then, so it became this whole thing, and it basically stimulated the whole opioid epidemic, and it just turned into insanity because people would literally come into the emergency room with absolutely nothing, objectively nothing, and say, I'm in a 10 out of 10 pain. I need the strongest pain medication possible. And if you don't give it to me, I'm calling administration. And they would call administration, and we would have to give narcotics to these people because administration would say, if you don't, you lose your job. Yeah. And so my whole job in the ER a lot of time was to go, okay, you're in a 10 out of 10 pain, feeling that they're not, giving them narcotics, and then I would then send every test on this earth to at least as much objective evidence I can, vital signs, blood work, CAT scans, to determine if they're full of shit or not. And then at the end of it, when I said, hey, look, you're saying you have the most severe abdominal pain, but your vital signs are normal. Your blood work's normal. You have no white count. Your CAT scan shows no burst. Actually, it looks totally normal. We're going to discharge you home. And they go, I'm still in severe pain. You need to write me for pain medications, or else I'm once again going to call administration and you're going to lose your job. Insane, right? Yeah. And that's the reality I lived. And that's why I don't do emergency medicine anymore.
Oh. Damn. Yeah.
That's one of the reasons.
Maybe one day they'll have a pain-o-meter, some sort of,
something you like a probe, like,
all right,
like a turkey probe,
some brain scan. Let's see how much you're really hurting.
Yeah.
For at least the physical pain, emotional pain, I don't know if they'll ever do that. But it is a problem because it also depends on how much you prescribe. Is it a little bit, a lot? How many days? How many?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right, and you allude to dependency as well.
Yeah.
On pain medications.
I remember like in the 2000s, early 2000s, early 2010s, like if I was going to the doctor for something, I'd be like, all right, let's see how dope of a medicine they can give me. You know what I mean? Like how strong. Like if they were going to be like, okay, we're prescribing ibuprofen, I'd be like, yeah, you got anything like a little bit, So that's real.
Here's the thing: if they ever invent, like we're talking about COVID vaccine conspiracies, you don't hear a lot of vaccine conspiracy. You don't hear a lot of conspiracies against Botox. You don't hear a lot of conspiracies against what's it called, Ozempic, anything that people want to take. There's no conspiracies over.
Right.
The stuff people don't want to take, there's conspiracies over. If the COVID vaccine made you lose 15 pounds and your skin clear up, people would be lining up for it.
Yeah, right.
Botox is made from botulism. You ever hear anybody complain about it? So it's also about like what do you want?
Is that true? It's made
Yes,
from botulism.
It's the toxin that.
That's where the name comes from.
Botulinum toxin.
How do you not know that? You know, I mean, how many podcasts have you listened to with everybody going through exactly every bullshit element or whatever they think is in the COVID vaccine? You never heard the Botox. It's in the name. Botulism. It's made from it. Doesn't mean it's dangerous or anything. But you'd think one guy on one podcast would be making this claim, some conspiracy nut. You don't hear it because people want to take it.
Yeah, I mean, my brain immediately goes to Botox as like, ugh, what a stupid, unnecessary thing.
I think it's fantastic. If you want to come to my office, we have Botox, we got Xeomin, we got Dysport. By the way, where can people find you?
Instagram, at Sasha Srbulj. That's SASHASRBULJ. It's terrible to spell and pronounce, but that's what it is. And
made you stronger.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got a big name too. Instagram, Threads, whatever, and all the socials.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you, dude. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, nice meeting you.
Yeah.